Hello, this is Mrs. Kantz coming to you with the Environmental Science Unit 1 test reteach for retake. This is going to be your opportunity to watch this video, interact with it, get the answers from the test, and be able to then go back into your test and retake that test to try and improve your score. So before we go ahead and start, I want to make sure that you guys think about this question here. So what would you do differently in terms of studying from the first time you took this test to the second time you're taking this test? Obviously, this video is here to help you, but what are you going to do to change the way you study, especially as many of these tests, Unit 2, 3, 4, and 5, are going to be set up very similarly. Um, so how can you change your study habits? I want you to go ahead and think about that for a second. After we do this reteach session, I am hoping that you feel comfortable enough to go back into that test and score above a 70% at least. But let's go ahead and get started. This video is going to allow you guys to interact with it. So a question will pop up on the board and you will be able to answer it by choosing A, B, C, or D. It'll give you feedback on what the correct answer is. And then when we get to those essay questions, it'll give you an opportunity to interact with it as well. So here's the first question. What is the best definition of remote sensing? Question will pop up, read it, answer your question, and then it'll move on. Which statement about remote sensing is true? Mariel uses a conversion table while making calculations in a study of an ocean evaporation relative to illuminates light intensity. Why would she use this kind of table? Why would you use a conversion table? Which environmental lesson can you derive from the ecocide hypothesis for what happened to Easter Island? Which was the most immediate action taken after publication of Rachel Carson's book, Silent Spring? In Mesopotamian irrigation, what was the function of the Tigris River? A scientist makes a graph showing population growth rates for the future of 10 countries, which is a necessary source of error in his graph. What conclusion can farmers draw today from the study of Mesopotamian irrigation practices? Where do environmental scientists usually publish reports on their experiments for an audience of their professional colleagues? Which of the following is best testable hypothesis correctly written? Which of these examples of data interpretation shows research bias? Which of the following steps in the scientific method test the hypothesis? Sarah observes that there are more of a certain species of mushroom in shaded areas of her yard than the sunny ones. From this observation, what would be a question that leads to a testable hypothesis? The United States still uses the English system of measurement. Which of the following is not a reason for worldwide use of the metric system instead? A scientist gave a talk on water pollution to an audience of citizens in a seacoast town where the shellfish population were decreasing because of contaminated runoff. Which of the which is most likely reason why the talk was ineffective? Did not work. The idea that humans were the sole source of the decline of Easter Island society is suggested by the which hypothesis? In an environmental issue such as offshore oil exploration, which group is most likely to change its opinion when socioeconomic or social economic, that money conditions change? Money and that society level. What event most affected the passage of the National Environmental Protection Act of 1969? Why is the issue of DDT use still controversial? Which human activity covered in this unit is historically been the most disruptive to the environment? Of the following factors, which is least important in the issue of whether to allow offshore oil drilling in the United States? What is the proper ethical role of science in public policy? Which currently summarizes the traits of a good hypothesis? The 7 units that form the basis for all derived units in the metric system are called. At what stage of the scientific method are scientists most involved in working with non-scientists? So here is that first essay question. It asks you about the ecocide rat outbreak and climate change. It says to explain one hypothesis detailing at least one piece of evidence and state how this hypothesis provides a lesson for today's world. Looking for at least 4 lines, so pretty much a paragraph. You could have chosen ecocide, rat outbreak, or climate change. In a paragraph, describe the 7 steps of the scientific method. And then error in data analysis often occurs because the researcher has chosen an inappropriate sample for study. Name at least 3 different causes of sampling error and state why each of them can provide invalid data. Many of you guys were able to name 3 sampling errors, but were not able to give me the why. So make sure that you give me a why answer as well. That has been your test. Hopefully you were able to look through those, get the correct answers. You now have that ability to go back into Unit 1 tests, retake that test, try your best, and Hopefully, I will see those scores raise. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and I will definitely help you out. Have a great rest of your day. And if you're looking for that new due date for this test will be the retake will be due Monday, October 16th. That should give you about a week to complete this and retake that test.